What is up, guys? Bruin Steel here. Welcome back to another WWE broadcast. I'm your host, Bruin Steel. This is Canadian Yorker, and we're back to recap the Monday Night Raw on May 13th, 2024 from Greenville, South Carolina. And we are in the build-up, and we are on the road to the King of the Queen of the Ring premium live event in Saudi Arabia, which will take place in 2 weeks' time. Actually, it's in next week, actually. So Canadian Yorker, how's it going?
Yeah, a little bit under the weather today, but I'm doing good for the most part. Doing awesome.
All right, before we start, just want to let you guys know that I will be going to Friday Night Smackdown May 31st with my good buddy of mine, Joey. Canadian Yorker won't be at the event, so there's some difficulties with it, but I will be going to the event. So Friday Night Smackdown, May 31st, I will be at the event and doing the full matches for you guys in the blog, so I won't be doing a broadcast, but Canadian Yorker here, if you want to do a broadcast by yourself, you can. It's up to you. But we'll see what happens. But I am going to Friday Night Smackdown with my friend Joey, May 31st, at MVP Arena here in Albany, New York. So it's going to be a hell of a, Friday Night Smackdown. It's going to be shorter because Friday Night Smackdown is shorter than Raw. So, we'll see what happens. Sad that you can't go.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Alright, so let's get started. So we get Drew McIntyre to start off the show, and basically he just trash talks about CM Punk, trash talks about seeing Jey Uso failing to win a title, and then he gets interrupted by Damian Priest. Damian Priest said that he has Drew has some serious issues that he can't shut in the hole. And basically Drew McIntyre complains about CM Punk to Damian Priest. And then they talk about WrestleMania. Damian Priest said that he's blaming everyone else besides himself. He said that you should have just grabbed the world title and just leave, but then you're just really obsessed with CM Punk, and then you decided you got attacked by a one-handed man. And he said, look into a mirror and see what that asshole is. And basically Damian Priest said that, oh yeah, Drew, you want a shot at my title? Then there you go. So Damian Priest just gave Drew McIntyre a title shot. So once Drew McIntyre is cleared, we're going to get to see when that title shot is going to be. So I think it's going to happen at Drew's home country of Clash at the Castle in Scotland. So that's probably about the approximately time that Drew might be ready to fight, like beforehand. So Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre was an intense promo. What are your thoughts on it?
I like it. It's great to see them finally come together. Finally, we get the confrontation between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has a lot of complaints. I understand there's a lot of complaints that he's got. And also, it's really interesting that Drew McIntyre complains about everything. I kind of agree with Damian Priest that yes, Drew McIntyre has complained a lot, and ever since WrestleMania, the build up to WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre was obsessed completely with CM Punk, and his whole thing was so he won the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth Rollins. He beat him, and then he rubbed it in CM Punk's face. And then CM Punk took advantage of it. His overconfidence, his bravado. He used his pride. He had a lot of pride. He used that against him, and he attacked him in the moment of weakness. And then Damian Priest was able to capitalize on it. Not only, that was kind of karma for Drew McIntyre, because Damian Priest prior to WrestleMania had tried to cash in on Seth Rollins before, but then he actually took Drew McIntyre's advice. That's what he said, and he, instead of cashing it in on Seth Rollins, cashed in on Drew McIntyre himself, which is, in a sense, poetic justice for Drew McIntyre interrupting him being able to cash in on Seth Rollins. So, and a lot of things that shut Drew McIntyre up, because a lot of the things that Damian Priest was talking about was true. It's true. He basically used everything that he said against him, and it backfired in his face. I mean, what else can you say about it? Drew McIntyre obviously does have to take accountability for what has happened to him. He's got to admit what has happened to him. He just got an opportunity to win back the World Heavyweight Championship from Damian Priest, and now he has that opportunity. Right now, what he needs to focus on is to put his beef aside with CM Punk. He needs to put that aside right now. He doesn't need to focus on that right now. If CM Punk interferes with him in the match, I mean, that's going to cost him another title opportunity to win the World Heavyweight title back. So he needs to focus on that right now. He needs to focus on winning. He needs to put let CM Punk and Drew McIntyre thing, let it rest until WrestleMania. Let's have that happen at WrestleMania. We got to see this happen at WrestleMania. I can't have Drew McIntyre. I think I've been a huge Drew McIntyre supporter, even though a lot of people don't like him. I just love the dude. He's been killing it as heel. He's been really making waves. I mean, he came up with the term Bondage Undertaker to call Damian Priest Bondage Undertaker, and it actually made waves on social media. It was funny. It was funny as heck. I thought he was going to use it right there with against Damien, but he didn't use it. But another thing, I will give Damian Priest some props, man. Damian Priest has really improved himself on the mic. He's been really good. He's really improved himself as a heel. I like the way that Damian Priest has really improved. And he's really coming into his own without Rhea Ripley being there. Without Rhea Ripley there, Damian Priest is able to do what he needs to do, and he's really showing himself more as a leader of the Judgment Day, which is interesting. But we'll have to see what the dynamic with him and the Judgment Day going on. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right, damn. All right. So moving on to the first match of the Monday Night Raw, we got our first Queen of the Ring quarterfinals. So we saw the results in the first round, the winners. So we got our first matchup of the Queen of the Ring quarterfinals. We got Iyo Sky versus Shayna Baszler. This was a great match. It went back and forth. At one point I thought Shayna Baszler was gonna win with the clear and clutch, her submission hold. But Iyo Sky, she's an amazing athletic, with moves. Since she's an unbelievable athlete, and it went back and forth. I thought Shayna Baszler a couple times was gonna win, but Iyo Sky was able to go onto the top rope to hit the diving moonsault on Shayna Baszler to get the move. So Iyo Sky defeats Shayna Baszler and will move on to the King of the Queen semifinals. So she will get opportunity to push her ticket into the King of the Queen pay-per-view in the finals. So Iyo Sky is looking unstoppable as usually. Iyo Sky moves on to the semifinals, defeating Shayna Baszler. What are your thoughts?
It's great to see Iyo Sky moving forward, getting more push as she goes forward in the Queen of the Ring tournament. I'm liking this from her. I would see this as a retribution for her losing her title to Bayley at WrestleMania. She needs this push going forward. I believe this is a rematch with Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler, what's going on with her? Honestly, she hasn't been active as she's a dangerous one-on-one fighter, one-on-one wrestler. However, she lost to Iyo Sky. She almost had that win against her. she can definitely be more dominant. So it's kind of interesting with her going forward. We'll have to see what happens with her.
Alright, so moving on. Just want to talk about some things that happened to the backstage segment. I won't be long. Carlito's trying to join the Judgment Day, but Damon Priest still doesn't trust Carlito. Carlito's still trying to join the Judgment Day. We have to see what happens. We see Chad Gable being the heel and him making fun of Maxine Debris, blowing opportunities and embarrassing Alpha Academy with that Queen of the Ring loss. And he said that he talked with Adam Pearce about some matches. He said that Otis better beat Sami Zayn's ass, so we're going to get Otis versus Sami. And then poor Tozawa got baited into a huge Bronson Reed matchup. So Chad Gable baiting Tozawa in a one-on-one match against Bronson Reed, so that sucks for him. And then Maxine Ivy Nile wrote up and said that why Maxine didn't come to her for help. She said Gable doesn't want her training outside of Alpha Academy, so we might not see Maxine and Ivy anymore unless they break free. I really think Alpha Academy is gonna break up. Chad Gable called Maxine a Taylor Chad Gable called Maxine Debris a Taylor not so swift, which was crazy. Chad Gable's heel is getting out of hand, but I like it. It's funny as him as a heel, but Alpha Academy just needs to break up with them. And we see R-Truth and Miz talking with Adam Pearce, and we get to see Kiana James for the first time, NXT who got drafted to Raw, so great to see her. And in this next match, we got King of the Ring quarterfinals. On the men's side, we got Gunther versus Kofi Kingston, one half of the New Day. So we got Kofi Kingston and Gunther. Surprisingly, I thought it was going to be a quick one. I thought Gunther was going to dominate, but Kofi Kingston actually put up a fight. You know, he got pissed off when Gunther hurt Xavier Woods' leg, and Kofi Kingston actually got a head start, attacking Gunther's leg and all that. It went back and forth, you know, but Gunther looked like he was just too strong. Boston Crab, a lot of counters by Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston did hit the Trouble in Paradise on Gunther, but it was outside of the ring. Gunther was able to hit the 10 power bomb with only 2 count, and then it turned it into a Boston Crab. Kofi Kingston had no choice but to tap. Gunther defeats Kofi Kingston and will move on to the King of the Ring semi-final, so he will get a chance to go to the King of the Queen pay-per-view and to become King Gunther. So, and I said this before, I'm going with my original pick. I said Gunther was going to win the whole thing. I think that's still the case. Gunther, I think, is going to win the whole thing. Gunther defeats Kofi Kingston in the quarterfinals to move on in this King of the Ring tournament. What are your thoughts?
You know, it's interesting. You know, Kofi, how many times Kofi knows Gunther? Kofi is getting better at counter attacking Gunther. It's interesting that Imperium and the New Day have a rivalry going back and forth. The New Day needs somebody like Big E to come in and be the third guy who can actually help them to beat the Imperium. Gunther knows, it's good that Kofi took the initiative and he was able to attack Gunther and almost win against him. However, Gunther is strong, he's fast, knows how to beat people. It's that's a tough matchup for Kofi every single time. It's a tough matchup. It's not easy to win against Gunther, but he lost. He fought valiantly, but what else can he do? Great win for Gunther. Great heart by Kofi. However, it was just running off in the end. For Gunther to win the King of the Ring, yes, that's possible. It's possible. However, there are some other people who are also viable candidates to win King of the Ring. Jey Uso can also win. I'm not sure who else is. I forgot who else is involved. There are other people that are deserving of it. Gunther is the biggest one that is there. But we'll have to see how it goes.
Alright, so, any more thoughts on the backstage segment, or are we good? You need thoughts on Carlito trying to join Judgment Day?
Yes.
I know there was also, excuse me. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
So I was going to say, it's sad to see how Chad Gable is breaking up the Alpha Academy. I mean, Otis is going against Sami Zayn. That should be an easy win for Otis. And then you have Tozawa versus Bronson Reed. That's not fair. It should just be Bronson Reed versus Otis. That's the match that we need to see. We need to see Bronson Reed versus Otis. That would be so much better.
Here's the thing, though. Alpha Academy could all turn heel. So Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine could turn heel. You might find it crazy after the shit that Chad Gable to them. But look at Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae started to turn heel, and what you know, it took some time for Indy Hartwell to follow her steps. So Indy Hartwell wasn't really a fan of what Candice LeRae has been doing. Same with Alpha Academy. Otis, Maxine, and Tozawa aren't really comfortable about how Chad Gable runs. Imagine if they step up and joined him as a heel. That would be crazy, but I mean, we'll have to see what happens. Alright, the next match, we got the match you were just talking about, Big Bronson Reed and Tozawa. Chad Gable coming out in a suit and tie heel, and this match went really quick because it's like Chad Gable doesn't want Tozawa to do the dance when he rips his shirt. He did it anyways, and then basically Chad Gable distracted him, and Big Bronson Reed was the easy win with the 747 splash. And Chad Gable acts like it was his fault, Tozawa's fault, goes into the ring after the match and yells at him in his face, and it didn't look good. So Big Bronson Reed was the dominant win over Tozawa with the 747 splash. Any thoughts?
It's just the situation. It's just like Drew McIntyre. Chad Gable is blaming everybody else but himself. It's like the situation, the real life situation with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron's blaming everybody else but himself. He's not taking accountability. It's just the same thing. It's crazy. The Alpha Academy doesn't need this. They don't need this stress. They don't need this headache. You know what they need to do? They gotta kick him out. They gotta kick Chad Gable out. I can see Alpha Academy turns on Chad Gable. They kick him out of Alpha Academy. Chad Gable goes rogue. Okay, that's what it makes sense. But if they actually do turn heel, okay, that makes sense. But Chad Gable is forcing them to be heel, not to be face. And, man, they don't deserve this. Well, they are losing a lot, and Chad Gable is frustrated. But at the same time, I would imagine that they're going to snap. I mean, when Otis basically was forced to say the words that he's going to help Chad Gable win the Intercontinental title back, every one of them is going to help him do that. But they could all snap on him and keep their face as the way they are. Man, it's gonna be crazy when that happens.
All right. And it can be a whole Dominic and Ray situation between Otis and Chad. We can see, we saw Rey Mysterio refusing to fight. We saw Rey Mysterio refusing to fight Dominic Mysterio. Same thing with this. We see Otis refusing to do anything to Chad. But imagine eventually Otis does fight back and punches Chad in the face. The crowd would go ballistic if that happened. And then they'll just imagine the Otis and Chad Gable rivalry. That'd be funny. But moving on to the next match, we got another Queen of the Ring quarterfinals. So the winner of this match will go on to face Iyo Sky in the semifinals. We got Lyra Valkyria versus Zoey Stark. So this is gonna be an interesting match. It was a really good match. It went back and forth. Zoey Stark is still an athletic girl. She's awesome. Not a big fan of her though, and she's whatever. Been losing a lot with Shayna Baszler. It went back and forth. She went for the Z30 360, but it got countered to the Nightwing, which is Lyra's finisher. Lyra Valkyria, what a Raw debut, making it to the semifinals to face Iyo Sky. Lyra Valkyria defeats Zoey Stark by pinfall. You're gonna have Iyo Sky versus Lyra Valkyria in this Queen of the Ring semifinal. So the winner will go to Saudi Arabia to face whoever faces the Smackdown winner. So what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who will be the victor. If Iyo Sky wins, it probably might happen because she will have interference from Damage Control. That may happen. But if that happens, we're gonna see Becky Lynch coming out and helping Lyra win. So that's gonna be interesting going forward. However, if Lyra wins and goes on to face the SmackDown winner, that would be a big push for her. And she's definitely gonna have a rival with Damage Control. I see that happening. It's definitely happening. She's definitely going to be helping Becky Lynch out against Damage Control too. So that's definitely happening. I mean, there's so many angles you could come at from this, but that's probably something that's going to happen.
Alright, so moving on to the next match, we got Otis flanked by a Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn. This match went back and forth. Well, it wasn't even close because thanks to Chad Gable told Otis not to dance and fuck, man. Chad Gable didn't tell Otis to do the caterpillar, which I have that shirt. No, I was like, do it. Fuck it. Do it, man. But he did. He did the caterpillar. But Chad Gable was upset. A couple times he distracted the referee just to talk to Otis. Like, Otis, what the fuck? He's pissed off. Distracting Otis. Causing Sami Zayn to take advantage. Gets him in the corner. Sami Zayn gets the Huluman kick on Otis. Sami Zayn defeats Otis because of a Chad Gable argument. And after this match, Chad Gable yells in Otis' face and then pushes his face, something like that. And then Sami Zayn was about to leave, and then he went back to the ring and attacked Chad Gable, but Chad Gable ran off. But despite Chad Gable yelling in his face, Otis tried to help him, but then Chad Gable didn't want Otis' help, and he said that this is your fault. And then Chad Gable slapped Otis in the face and walked out. And then Otis, the crowd were cheering Otis to fight back, but he had no choice. So after that big slap, Otis was like, oh no, ending the match. So Sami Zayn defeats Otis by pinfall. What are your thoughts?
I have a lot to say about this. First of all, it's good win, pickup win. Otis had it in the bag. Otis had that win in the bag. If Chad Gable wasn't for Chad Gable's interference, Otis would have won against Sami Zayn. However, Chad Gable interfered, and that cost Otis the opportunity to win. So that's a loss. Otis lost because of Chad Gable's interference. Excuse me. Chad Gable's continued and interruptions and aggression against his own teammates. Man, he's really taking it too far. He's assaulting people. He's assaulted people, insulted people. He's pushing his teammates to the limit. He wants to be an authoritarian over them. It's crazy. He's just going crazy with control. When he slapped Otis in the face, I was pissed. I was like, How can he do that to you? How can he do that to Otis, man? Otis has been there with him since day one. How can he do that to Otis? That's so disrespectful. I mean, nobody ever allowed that to happen. I mean, when people saw that, I'm sure people would have jumped over the rampart and punched Chad Gable in the face for Otis, man. Everybody loves Otis. You know, Otis is gonna have a breaking point. Otis is gonna strike back when Chad Gable strikes at him. He's gonna strike back, and we're gonna see an Alpha Academy Civil War happen, man. This we're gonna see his other teammates rally around him. We're gonna see this happen. Chad Gable has some karma coming. He's got some karma coming back at him. I'm gonna be happy when it's gonna happen to him.
Alright, so moving on to the next match. We got Becky Lynch versus Dakota Kai. 1-on-1 for the first time. It went back and forth. Dakota Kai seems like she got this match in the bag, but Becky Lynch is the fighter. It went back and forth. Dakota Kai was her stomp. It's deadly. Becky Lynch was going for the armbar. This armbar right here. Let's go. Becky Lynch was going for this armbar, but stupid damage control had to cost a disqualification because they can't take a loss. So Iyo Sky and Carlene Sane attacks Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch gets saved by Lyra Valkyria. They're both from Belfast, Ireland, and basically both Becky and Lyra sent the heels packing, but then Liv Morgan comes out of nowhere and sneaks up behind Becky Lynch and throws her shoulder first into the post and makes the run for it. Because she did that because Becky Lynch punched Liv Morgan in the backstage segment earlier in the show, so that's why Liv wanted to get redemption. So just so you guys don't know, Liv and Becky will be facing off against each other in next week's pay-per-view, The King of the Queen, for the Women's World Championship. So what are your thoughts on this match ending in disqualification?
Man, I saw that backstage segment. Lyra definitely, she was happy. She got some congratulations from Liv, and then Becky is there, and man, I mean, these ladies don't like each other. There's definitely building up into a rivalry between these two. We're gonna see some pretty insane things go on next week when they face off against it. They're gonna have that title opportunity. I mean, Becky punched Liv first, and then Liv returns the favor, and we're gonna have to see what happens going forward with that. So.
Alright, so moving on to the next match, we got a fatal 4-way match for the WWE World Tag Team Championship #1 contender match. So there's 4 teams. Winner will face R-Truth and Miz for the tag team titles. We got Authors of Pain. We got the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed, versus the Judgment Day. We got Finn Balor and Jade McDonough versus New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. This was a hell of a match. It was chaos. It always was chaos when it comes with like fatal 4-way or triple threat tag team matches. And we saw the strengths. We saw how dominant Authors of Pain can be, and I actually thought they could actually win. I mean, if the Authors of Pain were to win, that would be huge trouble for Miz and R-Truth. But it went back and forth in this match. It was a great match, honestly. It went back and forth. Tyler Dunne attacking JD McDonough's fingers was hilarious. He deserved that. Fuck you. But the Creed brothers, I thought it was the Creed brothers' time. Like, the Creed brothers, they deserve a push. But at the end, it was Carlito showing up, running interference, showing his loyalty to the Judgment Day with a backstabber on the table. And JD McDonough throws Pete Dunne through the ring. Finn Balor on top of the top rope with the coup de grace. Judgment Day actually wins. Finn Balor and JD McDonough are your #1 contenders for the championships. So that's a shocker. Like, come on, man. Like, it's getting annoying. Like, why can't they give it to, like, the Creed brothers? Like, Oh man, but I'm just saying, Finn Balor and JD McDonough, fuck them. I hope they lose to R-Truth and The Miz. Like, they just keep giving it to the fucking Judgment Day. It's annoying. What are your thoughts?
We both knew that the Judgment Day is not done with the tag team titles. We both knew that Finn Balor wants those titles back, as well as Damian Priest and JD McDonough. So now that they want all the gold. Now that Damian Priest has his title with the World Heavyweight title, Finn Balor and JD McDonough needs a push. We need to see JD McDonough win. It's his first ever tag team title. He can't win with Dominic Mysterio. So, I mean, this is interesting. See how things go. Carlito with the interference. Of course, Carlito is going to do what Carlito does, and that's just interfere with things and cause damage. That's just that's his thing. I think it would have been more interesting because the Judgment Day and the Awesome Truth have a history with each other. R-Truth is going to make it there's just some magic happening with the Judgment Day and R-Truth. R-Truth is just bringing out the best in the Judgment Day, and it's going to be interesting to see how both of them attack and stuff. And it's interesting. I like the storyline going on between them. It's really interesting because it's helping the Judgment Day stay relevant. The Authors of Pain, they are a very interesting group, and yeah, like you said, if they had won the title shot opportunity to face the Miz and R-Truth, the Miz and R-Truth are going to have a hard time facing them. But right now, it's not their time. They are definitely going to get their shot in the future. I'm definitely see these guys, the Authors of Pain, getting their title shots in the future. Karrion Kross is getting his title shot. Every single member of Karrion Kross is getting their shot, and it's going to be interesting with them going forward. I definitely want to see them get pushed more as a heel group, because they're an interesting group. We can't have them keep on feuding with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. We need to see more than them doing that. We need to see more of them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just sick of the Judgment Day. I just want them to give Creed Brothers a chance or whatever. Maybe Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, they had a chance, but I mean, someone deserves a run at the tag team titles. There's just so much people. Why Judgment Day again? It's just annoying. And then of course we get to see Carlito celebrating with Finn Balor and JD McDonough and Dominic, and Damian Priest is the leader, saying that was cool, but be careful that you're not a coward. We don't deal with that in the Judgment Day. But moving on to the main event, we got EGI Dragunov versus main event Jey Uso in this King of the Queen quarterfinals. So this is interesting. If Dragunov would have won, he would have faced his old rival Gunther. This was a great match. Obviously Jey Uso, I like the yeet chants, the fireflies. It was a great atmosphere. Yeet. It went back and forth, obviously. At one point I thought Dragunov was actually going to do it, but at the end, Jey Uso hits Dragunov with the spear, and then the Uso splash. Jey Uso gets a clean win over Dragunov. Wow. So Jey Uso will be moving on to the semifinals to face Gunther in the King of the Ring tournament. It was a great match, obviously, and Gunther comes down to the ring and confronts Jey Uso. So we're going to get Gunther and Jey Uso next week, but I think Gunther gets this win easily. I feel like Gunther is going to be the man who's going to be King of the Ring. I wouldn't mind that. I mean, that would be crazy if he changes his name to King Gunther. But what are your thoughts on this match?
Yes, there was a point where before the match, there was an interview that Dragunov had with, and Dragunov was talking in the interview about the fact that he's going to beat Jey Uso. Jey Uso is going to lose to him, and yada yada yada. And Gunther appeared because Dragunov said that he was the only person that had beaten Gunther. That's pretty significant when he said that. Dragunov stared at him. Gunther stared back. They definitely have a history between each other. So it's interesting to see them face off against each other in the future. It is what it is with the loss that Dragunov faced. Dragunov showed great competitive spirit against Jey Uso. I don't know if Gunther is going to be able to beat Jey Uso one-on-one, because Jey Uso almost beat him. If he had not had interference done by Jimmy Uso, he would have won against Gunther.
Drew McIntyre is going to cost Jade the chance, and Gunther's going to win. Just watch.
I mean, there's a number of people that could cost Jey Uso the chance to lose. But at the same time, if Jey Uso can beat Gunther cleanly, Jey Uso can potentially beat him.
Or you can see Dragunov. We can see, because look, I've seen a lot of people online saying that, I'm pissed off that they didn't do a Dragunov versus Gunther. They're gonna do it, but they're just not gonna have those two face off on a Raw show. They're just gonna do Dragunov and Gunther on the pay-per-view. So they're saving that feud for a premium event, which makes sense. But I think it's going to be a lead up to that feud. Imagine if Dragunov cost Gunther his match.
We'll have to see how it goes. It's going to be interesting going forward. But I can see Jey Uso needs to push to win. He needs to win something. And for him to win King of the Ring, that's a great pickup win for him right there. If Gunther wins, that's a great pickup win for Gunther. We already know Gunther is dominant. He's the best ever, the best Intercontinental champion that we've ever seen. Gunther has plenty of more opportunities available to him to get under his belt to win, and more things to grab. For Jey Uso needs to pick up something, because we can't keep having interferences in his matches and him losing. People want to see him win. I want to see him win. The guy has had a huge redemption arc ever since he left the bloodline, and for him to win, that's great for him.
Alright, so that will do it for Monday Night Raw. Thank you guys for watching. In terms of grading, this was a great show. It had some great matches and a lot of segments. I give this A minus. No, not A minus. I give this a plain A. How about you?
I'm also giving this an A. It's really interesting to see how each of these matches going forward. There's a lot more that can be said, but I want to see how things continue and how they develop. I'm sure you also want to see that too. So it's going to be interesting going forward to see how things go on. So can't wait to see how things progress further.
Alright, so that would do it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Bruin Steele. This is Canadian Yorker. Be sure to check out Canadian Yorker's YouTube channel. The link will be in the description, as well as our wrestling channel, which is WWE Wrestling Bros. Link will be in the description. And we will see you guys next time for the next broadcast, which is Friday Night Smackdown. Hopefully we'll be both available for that. Just another reminder, I will be at the Friday Night Smackdown May 31st, so I won't be doing a broadcast. Maybe Canadian Yorker here will probably do one, since he won't be doing it, tagging along, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, my name is Bruin Steele. This is Canadian Yorker. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you're new. Comment your favorite wrestler in the comment section. Take it easy, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, and we are out.
Take care.